right, I'm gonna let that load a little bit, let some people catch up in here. Hope everyone's doing well today. Wanted to give a brief message to people out there who claim to be gun owners, who are all about the Second Amendment, who are all about open carry, but I'm on my way out to Gatesville to pick up a open records request for my Gatesville ride that I did a couple weeks ago. I had requested the 911 calls and any reports, so that is available. I'm going to go pick that up. But what I wanted to do was talk about these people, because it reminded me, going to Gatesville reminded me, of course, of my Gatesville video, which of course reminds me of the comments on my Gatesville video. And it never ceases to amaze me, the morons that call themselves Second Amendment supporters, but who sit there all day long and do nothing but dish on people who are out there exercising their rights and standing up for them. Yeah, I call them butters too. That's what they are. They're butters. They're fuds. They're butters. I support the Second Amendment, but what really cracks me up are, and you'll have to forgive me, my voice is still coming back. On Saturday, my daughter was at regionals trying to qualify for state, and so I was screaming all day on Saturday, and my voice is shot. Oh, sorry about that. Somebody trying to call me. And what really drives me nuts are the people that say, I'm all for open carry. I'm all for the Second Amendment. I support the Second Amendment 100%. I support open carry 100%. And then every one of those phrases are sort of bookended by comma, but. Sometimes they don't even put the comma in there. It's just but. I support our rights, but. Here's the thing. If you are all for open carry, then you wouldn't be criticizing people who are out there doing it. It doesn't matter what their reason is. They don't have to have a reason. I don't have to have a reason. So it really doesn't matter. If you're all for the Second Amendment, if you're all for the right to keep and bear arms, if you're all for open carry, if you're all for concealed carry, I said all for, or 100%. I don't think you guys realize 100% FUDs. That's everything. That's not 99.9%. That means it's pretty absolute. It's full. It can't get any fuller. That's everything. It's all encompassing. Anything less than all encompassing and 100% support is not 100%. So when you say I do this kind of stuff because it's people like you FUDs out there that 100% but, or I'm all for gun rights but. See, your inaction and your unwillingness to take a stand while our rights have been piddled away and infringed upon for so long are why people like me have to fight so hard and so aggressively to regain them. Because people like you have allowed people like the NRA and Republicans to undermine our right to keep and bear arms. Yes, I said Republicans. We all know that the Democrats have an agenda, but they couldn't do anything without Republicans. So that's the reason I go out there and I do these things. And I would say even these First Amendment auditors that are out there, part of the reason they're out there doing what they're doing is because we've allowed government to control every aspect of our lives, and now we've got to push back for some accountability. Filming a government department is somehow a terrorist now. That's the line of thinking. And so what are people out there doing? They're out there filming to show that not everybody with a camera is a terrorist, and I'm doing the exact same thing with my gun. Unlike you FUDs who do nothing for gun rights, absolutely nothing for gun rights. You don't take a stand. Oh, okay, you might throw your $30 a year at the NRA or some other gun group, but that's doing nothing. And I'm generalizing here because I know there are some people that genuinely can't do anything because, I don't know, they're bedridden or for whatever reason, they might not have a car, they might not have a phone. I don't know. I mean, obviously there are some people out there with legitimate excuses for why they do nothing. But I think if you can get on YouTube, if you've got the internet, there's something you can do. So, and for those people that can't do anything, that are trying to make ends meet and they're working their asses off 100 hours a week, 80 hours a week, trying to put food on the table for their families, I understand if those people, all they can do is throw money at those of us that are able to do those things. I get that. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm making very generalized statements, understanding there are exceptions. But when you go online and you start attacking people for actually getting out there and exercising their rights, and then you blame them and you say, oh, you're just out there looking for attention. Well, hell yeah, I'm looking for attention. The whole point of advocacy and activism is to seek attention. What good does it do for me to go out there and fight for the Second Amendment if no one's out there to hear my fight? If no one's out there to see my fight? What good does it do for me to walk around out here in the country where I live, where no one's going to see me, where I can't start and engage the conversation? What kind of learning environment does that create? So first and foremost, when you sit there and you whine and you accuse people who are out there exercising their rights of, quote, just wanting attention, well, you're right. The problem is you don't understand what that means. See, what these FUDs idea and definition of you're just looking for attention means, what it means is that you just want government to harass you. And when you say that, what you're saying is, I support government harassing you because you're doing something I don't like. That's really what you're saying when you go out there saying you're just looking for attention. Because who am I looking for attention from? And what kind of attention am I looking for? Yes, I'm looking for attention, but I would like to have positive attention. I'm looking for positive attention that brings awareness to what it is I'm doing. Unfortunately, negative attention comes with advocacy and activism. And unfortunately, a lot of times that negative attention comes in the form of law enforcement involvement. And so what I'm trying to do is change that script from negative law enforcement to positive law enforcement. Yes, my goal is to go out there and get attention, and I would even say to some degree, my goal is to get law enforcement attention and to have an interaction. But it's not what you FUDs think, because you people are so brainwashed in your statist philosophies that you think that government is the be-all end-all and that we're supposed to bend over and kiss the ass of our overlords who are in government and just do whatever we're told, and we're supposed to care about their feelings. And it's the exact opposite. Government is there solely. The sole intent of government is to protect individual liberty. That's it. Period. End of sentence. End of statement. End of argument. That's the sole purpose of government, is to protect individual liberty. So when I'm out there exercising individual liberty and I'm not hurting anybody, then what I expect is when government comes up there, not to tell me, oh, we got a phone call, so we're required to respond to it. Instead, what I expect is, hey, we got a phone call. I just want to let you know you're not doing anything wrong. We came out. I see you're not doing anything wrong. Hey, man, just be safe. Have a good day. If you need anything, here's my card. Let me know. Give me a call if anybody gives you a hard time. And I don't even mind if you're saying it in a cool way, that just talk. I'll talk to you. So that's the first thing. So when you go out there and you say, oh, you're just looking for trouble, what you're doing is you're legitimizing the fact that police give law-abiding citizens trouble to begin with. And that should be the problem. The question should not be, why are you looking for trouble? The question should be, why is law enforcement giving you trouble? Because you have bought into this narrative that apparently, since some people use guns to commit crime, everyone must be guilty of it. And what's ironic is a lot of these individuals are the exact same people who are the first to say, oh, don't blame all gun owners because someone did this or someone did that. And yet here you are legitimizing what the police and the government is doing, which is to label every gun owner as a potential threat because some gun owners do threatening things or might commit crimes. So apparently everyone is guilty of committing a crime. So you've just subscribed to this mentality. The next thing that drives me nuts is, what do you need to be carrying an AR-15 for? I understand why you gotta be carrying an AR-15. Here's a question that no one has been able to answer. They've willingly ignored it when I've asked this question in the comments, and they deflect and they obfuscate and just refuse to answer the question. So here's my response to people who say, I don't understand why you need to carry an AR-15. Well, first of all, because I can. That's my first response. There you go, because I can. But my response retort is, what's the difference between me carrying an AR-15 and me carrying a pistol? What's the difference between me carrying this pistol or a revolver? At some point, it's just mechanics, right? It's just mechanics and what it looks like and capabilities. But what is the difference? Why is it any different if I carry a handgun or an AR-15 for self-defense? It doesn't matter. It's self-defense. So that kind of question, and this is what too many of us gun owners don't do very well. And what we don't do very well is flip the script. When someone starts questioning you, I don't understand why you need an AR-15. You don't sit there and defend yourself. There's nothing to defend. You say, I don't understand why I wouldn't need an AR-15. Explain to me why I would not need an AR-15. That's how you do it. You never respond to these butters and these critics by defending your actions because you have nothing to defend. You're not breaking the law. You're exercising your rights. You're not hurting anybody. So instead of defending yourself and trying to excuse your behavior, which needs no excuse, put it back on them. Make them explain why they think it's a problem. I don't understand why anybody needs an AR-15 to carry. Don't you think that's overkill? Well, what do you mean by overkill? What is overkill? What is it? The length? Is it the color? Is it the caliber? Is it the capacity? Is it, I don't know, what is it? Is it the distance? Is it the range? Is it the sling? So what does it matter? What makes it overkill? What makes an AR-15 overkill when I'm out riding my bike out there? Now, I have reasons why I do a lot of these things, obviously. There's actually, several reasons, but I don't have to defend myself. And you don't have to defend yourself when you're out there exercising your rights. So the greatest threat to our liberty is not the gun grabbers. Actually, I'm going to get to this. This is kind of a concluding statement. I want to get to another one. Another one is you're just giving the anti-gun folks ammunition. Am I? What gives? How do I give anti-gun folks ammunition? Well, it gives them a reason to criticize you. Don't you think they're going to criticize me anyway? It doesn't matter if I'm open carrying a rifle or a pistol. If I'm open carrying a gun, they criticize us for open carrying to begin with. They criticize people for thinking they need to carry even a concealed gun everywhere they go. So do you really think that it matters whether I'm carrying a concealed pistol or an openly carried rifle about what the anti-gun folks care about? And do you really think we care or should care about what the people on the fence think? Because that's the next argument is, well, people on the fence, they see that. Well, first of all, why are they on the fence? What are they on the fence about? Are they on the fence about our rights? Are they on the fence about certain guns? Okay, what if they're on the fence about AR-15s and whether they should be legal? What does me carrying an AR-15 have to do with them deciding, oh, wait, he's carrying an AR-15? Nope, I'm not on the fence anymore. Nope, no, I'm definitely anti-gun now. Don't defend yourself. And definitely we cannot debate or argue with any of the criticisms of what we're doing. I love what they're doing out in Florida, and I'm glad to see those guys that are out there exercising their rights, and they're going through a lot of what we went through here in Texas in 2013 and 2014, which is law enforcement trying to adjust for something new. And I know Mike Taylor's doing a really good job of evolving along with, as he gets more comfortable with what he's doing, the different kinds and modes of questioning. As you do this more often, and I've been challenged so many times that, you know, in 2013, I'll admit, I wasn't very good at this. I had no idea how to respond to arguments. I didn't anticipate a lot of the arguments that I got. And so a lot of it comes with experience. It's kind of like fighting traffic tickets. What really annoys me is I've been fighting traffic tickets since I was 19 years old, very successfully, by the way. But it kind of annoys me when people contact me and they're like, hey man, I got a traffic ticket. I was told you can help me. Well, no, I can't, because it's a little too late now. You need to, if you really want to fight traffic tickets, you really need to start studying on how to do that now, not after you get the ticket, because you've got to understand how to file motions. You've got to understand how to make timely objections. You've got to understand what criminal procedure is. You've got to be able to anticipate the arguments of the prosecuting attorney and, by the way, the judge that's also not on your side in traffic cases. And I can't teach you that in time for you to have your traffic ticket, because you just can't account for everything. And you've got to be comfortable in all of these issues. It's the same way with exercising rights and doing activism out there when you're doing something that isn't normal. And that's another thing. If you watched my Gatesville video, one of the things I used to do that I realized I need to stop doing is trying to see things from the law enforcement point of view. Your job and my job is not to see things from law enforcement's point of view. Their job is to see things from your point of view. I don't exist to make government feel comfortable. Government exists for my comfort. They exist for my protection. I don't exist for government protection. So when a police officer says, well, you can understand why I need all this backup, when I asked him why he needed 11 cops for one guy. And instead of trying to say, well, you know, I can kind of see that. No, I actually don't. Because I've got 11 people here armed. Does that mean that I need 110 people? Because now I'm the one that feels threatened by having 11 people surrounding one person? No, I don't. I don't see why you need all that backup. Absolutely not. Well, you can understand why people are get a little nervous when they see an AR-15, can't you? No, actually I can't. I don't understand why people are uncomfortable around an inanimate object and an individual who's doing absolutely nothing threatening, just riding a bicycle or going on a walk. Nope, I absolutely cannot see their point of view. Don't engage in those arguments. Here's the conclusion, because I'm almost at the police station here to pick up my open records request. When you ask these questions, you are actually emboldening those very people that you're sitting there worrying about. Oh, you know, you're giving the ammunition to the anti-gun people. You know what's happening right now? You know what really gives ammunition to the anti-gun crowd? It's when so-called pro-gun people support their position. So the anti-gun crowd wants everyone to think and feel uncomfortable around guns. That's the way that they're going to push their gun control agenda. If everyone feels uncomfortable, then the unruly mob will demand that it be banned. And once it's banned, they've already achieved their objective. And so when you go and you say it makes people uncomfortable, don't you realize you're making people uncomfortable? You're scaring them. You have just bought into the liberal narrative, and you've given them a reason to continue their fight. Oh, look, people, even gun owners agree with us. How many times, here's what you will never hear from a gun control advocate at the Capitol. You will never hear, look, I'm a member of Open Carry Texas, and I oppose this bill when it's a bill that Open Carry Texas supports. I'm a member of Open Carry Texas, but I support this bill when it's a bill that Open Carry Texas opposes. You will never, ever, ever hear an open or an anti-gun person saying, I'm an Open Carry Texas member. But you know what you do hear people saying when they testify, these gun control people? I'm a member of the NRA, but I support this bill when it's a bad bill. I'm a member of the NRA, and I oppose this bill when it's a good bill. Because the NRA has emboldened the anti-gun crowd with things like bump stock bans and red flag laws. Whereas Open Carry Texas has opposed even some bills that might sound like they're a pretty decent idea, but they're not, because we will not engage in gun control. So when you sit there and you say you're making people uncomfortable, or felons shouldn't have guns, or you insert the gun control argument. But this is exactly where Dennis Bonnen is right now here in Texas. Dennis Bonnen has killed constitutional carry. So whose side is Dennis Bonnen on? Well, now you've got the gun control crowd, the Moms Demand Action, and the Texas Gun Sense folks actually praising Dennis Bonnen for his gun control stance, and praising those people who are supporting Dennis Bonnen. So really the only people, it's not me out there on my bike that's emboldening these gun control people. It's the people who are supporting them in their criticism of me exercising my rights. So you fuds and butters out there, when you whine and complain about the fact that we're losing our rights, it's because you are buying into the argument. You are buying in to the narrative that guns are scary, open carry is scary, certain kinds of guns are scary, and they should be very well controlled. Universal background checks, you name it. And the problem is, we feel like anybody that doesn't agree with some restrictions is a fringe group, which is what Dennis Bonnen has labeled anybody that doesn't believe in full adherence to the Second Amendment. You're a fringe group if you don't believe in common sense gun regulation, common sense gun ownership. That's the kind of language that emboldens and gives ammunition to the anti-gun crowd. Not those of us that actually exercise our rights. You are the ones that are causing us to lose our rights, not me. My actions and the actions of those that have had my back and had my side, and who have walked with me, who have walked in front of me, and who have walked behind me, they have actually contributed to more rights in Texas, not fewer. Because I've heard all these arguments. We heard them in 2013 and 2014. You guys open carrying your guns in Target and Home Depot and all these places. You're hurting it for the rest of us. And guess what? Campus carry and open carry passed the exact same year. Go figure. And it wasn't because we backed down. It was because we stood strong. And gun owners need to stand strong. And I really hope that a bunch of you people that believe that people like me are hurting the cause will take a step back and ask yourself, well, seriously, how is he hurting the cause? He's going on a bike ride with a rifle on his back? So what? What's wrong with a rifle? Stop emboldening these people. Stop emboldening them. That's my rant. I'm almost up here to get my open records request. Yeah, can we please ban spiders? My wife would love to ban spiders. I hate spiders too. They're scary. Spiders really are scary. But yeah, I mean, just because you don't like something, you want to ban it, you want government to control it. See, here's the thing. I don't like marijuana. I don't like cigarettes. I don't like alcohol. But I also don't like government telling me what I can and can't do when I'm not hurting anybody. And so while I don't agree with those things, I'm not going to tell people they shouldn't do it. And I'm definitely not going to tell government that they should force people not to do it. All right, let me go through here, see if there's any questions. If you got a question, leave it real quick, because I just pulled into the police department. Yep, I can't control the feeling of others. Absolutely. And Phil, not only can I not control the feelings of others, I actually don't care about the feelings of others. I would rather have a harmed citizen watching my back and walking the street than police officers, you know? I feel the same way in many ways. Absolutely. In 35 years, I've been stopped by law enforcement one time. I open carry every day, everywhere. The Jack, here's the thing. If you just go about your normal business and you go about what is considered acceptable behavior under, I don't know, some standard, whatever's considered acceptable behavior, if that's all you do, generally you probably won't have a problem with law enforcement. But when you actually step outside of your comfort zone and you do something that either you or maybe others might be uncomfortable with but is perfectly legal, then watch and see how much law enforcement gets involved. Law enforcement won't bother you as long as you're doing what law enforcement wants you to do. But try doing something that law enforcement doesn't want you to do. That's when you get law enforcement support. And that's where real freedom comes. Real freedom comes from being able to be a free person and do whatever you want to do, as long as you don't hurt other people and law enforcement leaving you alone. So that's what I'll tell you about that. Let's see. Yes, people are cowards, Emmanuel. Agreed. Yes, government. Let's see. People come to me in town every day carrying my handgun and say, thank you for protecting me. No badge, no uniform, just American citizen protecting himself and others. Absolutely. And you're right on that, Jack. And I'm glad that you do. Thank you for open carrying, too, because one of the reasons that I do this, even though I don't ever tell law enforcement this, but my purpose in carrying my rifle on my back is to, for lack of a better word, indoctrinate or educate people and into not being afraid of guns anymore. That's my biggest problem, is that we've had to hide our guns for so long that citizens feel like the only way they can be comfortable is if it's out of sight, out of mind. And that's how we lose our rights. When they're out of sight and out of mind and people don't pay attention to them, that's when government sneaks in and takes them from you when you least expect it. I mean, a perfect example of this is when I moved back to Texas to retire back in 2009, I had no idea. I honestly had no idea that open carry was illegal in Texas. I had no idea, because every state I had lived in at the time was an open carry state up to when I moved back to Texas. Yes, even when I lived in California, at the time that I lived in California back in the 90s, when I was stationed there, even they were open carry. They're not now, but they were back then. And so to come home to Texas, it was actually very surprising to me that open carry was banned. Kind of really surprising to me also. I do carry into banks, but I do not carry post offices because that's a crime. Carrying into a post office is federal property, and you can actually be charged with a felony, I think, for carrying onto a post office. But I do carry into banks. It's just when I go into a bank, I always make sure that I immediately take off my hat and take off my glasses. And that's just one way that I help them feel comfortable. And then I always, before I go in, I always have everything I need in my hands. So I'm not reaching back for my wallet to make it look like, because my wallet, I'm left-handed, my wallet and my gun are on the same side. And so when I go into a bank, so that people don't get scared, what I will do is I'll walk in there and I already have my wallet, if there's a check, if there's cash, whatever it is I'm doing there, I make sure I have everything in my hands so that they see I'm there for business. And that's one of the ways that I sort of minimize that. But I don't have any problems open carrying in my bank. Will we try next session for constitutional carry? Yes, absolutely. We're actually going to try for a special session on constitutional carry. Only time I've been assaulted by an officer was when I voluntarily disarmed first. Absolutely. I will never voluntarily disarm anymore. There's a reason that every single time I've been arrested, I've always had a secondary charge of interference or resisting arrest, because I will never not interfere with an illegal arrest, ever. Are there any ways to try to still get constitutional carry? And I'll leave it at this one. This will be my last one. Yes, as a matter of fact, yesterday, House Bill 3231, we tried to do an amendment. Stickland tried to add an amendment. We knew it wasn't going to be germane to the bill because it wasn't, and sure enough, that's what it got called. I don't want to give anything away that hasn't already happened, but yes, there are other ways that we're in the amendment process right now. Constitutional carry bill 357 is dead this session. It's not going anywhere. Only a miracle will bring it to fruition. And unfortunately, there are too many butters out there that are supporting supporting Dennis Bonin's lies, and so he doesn't feel emboldened, or he doesn't feel enough pressure to change his mind and get something done. So now what we're doing is the amendment process. We're trying to find bills that are germane and amend those to get constitutional carry pass. That's our only option unless there's a special session. So this year it's dead. It's just not going to happen unless we can get an amendment in. Yeah, it was definitely sad to see there in California exactly what you were saying, CJ. Other gun owners blaming us open carriers for the ban. And that's the thing. So 357 SIG beats 9mm. That's the problem. When people were out there open carrying and the left started attacking those people, it wouldn't have gone as far had gun owners and those on our side didn't jump on that bandwagon and say, oh, you ruined it for all of us. No. The people that ruined it are the people who were trying to vote on and pass the ban. And they felt like they had the support of all the critics on our side of the issue because of the Butters. Thank you, Butters. You're the ones that did it. Yes, McNutt did nothing wrong. All right, guys, I'm going to go in here, and actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this live because I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to leave this live, and I'm going to go in and get my request. What the heck? Hi there. I have an open request for Grisham.
Okay, $1?
Yeah.
And it's CJ, right?
CJ, yes, ma'am. GRISHAM.
Okay.
It is humid out there.
Yeah, it
Picked
worked
a-
this morning first thing too.
Picked a bad time for my AC to go out.
Oh, no, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be, that's true. Actually, it wasn't the AC, it's just my blowers. My blower fan and all the connections and stuff.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. All right,
Okay.
there you go.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Oh, wait, here's your receipt.
Oh,
I knew I did it. There you go.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So, you know what? I haven't done this before, but those of you that are actually watching this stream are going to hear this as I do. I'm going to play this for you guys. Let me see if it's a music CD first. Otherwise, I got to pull my laptop out. This is the 911 call for when I did my bike ride here. Okay, so that didn't work. So let me pull my laptop out. Oh, that hurts. I think I broke or cracked a rib. I know this is kind of boring right now, you'll get to hear the 911 call at the same time I do. Isn't that exciting? Ugh. It just so happens I have my laptop with me, so you're lucky. All right, well, that's loading. Here's the call sheet. All right, let's see. Jay Styles, I don't know. This is who it's entered by. Apparently, this is what they sent out over the dispatch. At 13:44:55, older gentleman with fluorescent green shirt. 10 seconds later, elementary school. 15 seconds later, by primary school towards Maine. Almost a minute later, at 13:46, white male with beard. 20 seconds later, at 13:46. So this is almost 2 minutes after the original phone call. Almost 2 minutes after the original phone call, the first thing they say is AR-15 strapped to his back. Then we've got the caller, Ken Jones. This is weird because it's almost as if, okay, I guess that's when they got the call information. So they stuck in the call information. I don't know what this AT&T Mobility is. Bald Knob Road. And then it just says Walmart at 11:49. So this is 5 minutes later. It says Walmart. About 40 seconds later, seen at Walmart. At 1:58, so we're now 14 minutes into my into this call. Called number back, spoke to female. She advised that it was in reference to the armed suspect. Call sheet, whatever, was merged into this call. At 13:59, so now we're 15 minutes. Someone else saw him on Jackson. Advised that he is a black male. Advised that he is a black male. I don't... Okay, that's... All right. 2 minutes after me being a black male, 222 out with a white male with AR. And then 20 seconds after that, subject is a white male. And then 15 minutes later, it says, Grisham is a firearms activist, asked for ID, refused, later provided name. And then a minute after that, no violations observed at time of contact. All right, let's listen to these. Let's listen to these phone calls, shall we? I'm going to put my phone down here next to the speaker. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Don't worry, I'll be uploading these. Let me roll up the window. Get as much outside noise out as possible. Can y'all hear that?
Gatesville Police Department, this is Jessica.
Yeah, this is Kenneth Jones out here on, I'm out here on 36 business. There's a guy riding a bicycle and he's got an AR-15 strapped to his back.
What does he look like?
The older gentleman got a beard and he's got one of these fluorescent green shirts on, but he's on a bicycle.
You said he's got a fluorescent green shirt on?
Yeah.
And where exactly is he on Business 36?
He's right there just about where the elementary schools are, or the schools are.
And you said he looks older though, right?
Yeah, older gentleman with a beard.
And which way is he traveling?
He's headed towards town.
So towards Main Street?
Yeah. I just passed the sheriff's car that was headed that direction. I don't know if he see him or not, but he's got it strapped to his back.
Okay, I'll get an officer headed that way. You said your name was Kenneth Jones?
Yeah.
And what's your callback number, Mr. Jones?
865-4758.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that's the first call. I think it's over. Let me see. Yep, that's the end of that call. That was Kenneth Jones. Let's see this next call here. And by the way, hang on, let me pause this. So that was on 36. So the police were called while I was on 36. I was on 36. By the time they had stopped me, holy cow. Let me see here. It was almost 20 minutes later. For 20 minutes, supposedly a dangerous man with an AR was out riding his bike before police officers stopped him. Gee, can you imagine the kind of damage a bad guy would do in that kind of time? Thank goodness we're armed. All right, here's the second phone call, the 911 call.
For fuck's sake. This is Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. This is Jessica with the Gatesville Police Department. I just had an...
Uh-oh.
Yes, this is me. I was calling. I was at the intersection in front of Walmart, and there was a guy on a bicycle with an AR strapped to his back.
Okay, and which way was he going at that intersection?
He was headed into Walmart.
He was heading into Walmart?
Yeah, he was heading into Walmart parking lot, and I just thought, I was like, that is just really weird.
Okay. All right, I'll get him around.
He's in like a neon shirt, white pants, on a bicycle.
Okay, all right, I've got it. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Corner 214.
All right, there you go. There you have it. Those are the only two phone calls they gave me. Very interesting. So, my first, so I'm going to be writing a letter to Gatesville because I don't know if you noticed, but there wasn't a single question about what was he doing? Where was the rifle? Did he appear, was he making any threatening gestures? Did he have his hand on the gun? What else was he wearing? No follow-up questions whatsoever. Not only that, but they didn't even bother to tell these people, well, I mean, that's a perfectly legal activity. So what do you think these people are going to do next time they see me over here riding around with my bike and having an AR-15? Because the police, who, you know, are supposed to be there to protect our rights, aren't even telling these callers that what I was doing was perfectly legal. You know, thank you for calling. Just so you know, it is perfectly legal to carry an AR-15 in Texas, as long as he's not doing anything threatening. Heck, what side of the road was he riding on? Because they could have gotten reasonable suspicion if I was riding on the wrong side of the road. But the dispatcher didn't ask that follow-up question. They didn't ask what the rifle looked like. They didn't ask if it, you know, was there a magazine in the weapon or not? Could you tell if it was loaded? Not that those questions matter, but there was absolutely no follow-up whatsoever during these calls. And there was no advisement that what I was doing was perfectly legal. So, and apparently it's really weird to see somebody riding around with a rifle on his back, and that's why I do it. Let's not make it weird anymore. If more people went for bike rides or on walks carrying their rifle, then the public would see what a law-abiding citizen with a gun looks like. So, all right, guys. Well, that was fun. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replay the audio on my laptop on a completely different video so that audio is isolated. I might actually just do that on my Facebook. So, and then later I'll upload this when I upload my, because I've got the video from the entire ride. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sync up the phone call with the time on the ride. And then I'm going to start a stopwatch so that you can see how long it took from the time these calls came in until they actually stopped me, and all the places that I went in the meantime before police